The lights of Port Harcourt glittered like stars as cars pulled into the grand entrance of Royal Crest Hotel. The red carpet stretched from the driveway to the glass doors, and camera flashes went off as important guests arrived in their finest clothes. Billionaire Christopher Daniels stepped out of his black SUV and walked around to open the door for his daughter. "Careful, princess," he said gently. 10-year-old Sophia smiled and took his hand. She wore a simple but elegant cream-colored dress with a tiny silver bow at the waist. Her hair was packed neatly in a bun, and her eyes shone with excitement. "Daddy, is this the charity party you told me about?" she asked as they walked in. "Yes," Christopher replied, smiling proudly. "Tonight we are raising money to help children who cannot afford school fees or medical bills. I brought you so you can see why giving back is important." The hotel ballroom was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting warm light over round tables covered in white cloth. Waiters moved quietly between guests, serving drinks and small snacks. A soft band played live music at one corner of the hall. As Christopher greeted other businessmen, politicians, and celebrities, Sophia watched everything with curious eyes. Every few minutes, someone would walk up to Christopher, shake his hand, and say, "Good evening, sir," or "Wonderful event, Mr. Daniels." He would reply politely and, almost every time, introduce Sophia. "This is my daughter, Sophia. I want her to grow up understanding what true wealth means," he would say. After some time, Sophia tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, can we sit? My feet are hurting." Christopher laughed softly. "Of course, let us sit for a while." They sat at their reserved table near the front, close to the stage. As Christopher sipped his drink and spoke with a senator beside him, his eyes began to wander across the room. He noticed groups of people talking and laughing loudly. He saw business partners making plans, rich women showing off expensive jewelry, and photographers trying to capture every moment. Then his gaze found something different. In a quiet corner of the hall, near a tall flower stand, stood a young woman. She wore a simple blue dress that did not look expensive, but she had tried to look neat. In her hand was a glass of juice, and she held it close, almost like she was using it to keep herself company. At her side, half hiding behind her skirt, was a little girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old. The child clung to the woman's dress, peeping at the crowd with big, curious eyes. Christopher frowned slightly. "Who is she?" he wondered. She did not look like the other guests. There was something gentle but tired about her face. "Daddy?" Sophia asked, noticing his distraction. "What are you looking at?" He pointed slightly. "Do you see that lady over there? And the little girl with her?" Sophia turned, following his eyes. "Yes, I see them. The girl looks my sister's age in church," she said. "Why are they standing alone? Nobody is talking to them." Christopher's heart tightened. In a ballroom full of wealthy people, the young woman and her child looked like they did not belong. He watched as a waiter passed them. The woman gave a small, shy smile and accepted only juice, not wine. The girl tugged at her dress and whispered something. "She looks nervous," Sophia said softly. Christopher made a quick decision. "Stay here for a moment, princess. I want to greet someone." "Can I come?" Sophia asked, her face brightening. He smiled. "Yes. Come with me." They walked slowly across the hall. Some guests turned to greet Christopher again as he passed, but he only nodded quickly and kept moving toward the quiet corner. As they got closer, the young woman noticed them and stiffened. She straightened her shoulders and tried to look composed, but the fear in her eyes was clear. Christopher stopped a few steps away and gave a warm smile. "Good evening," he said kindly. "I'm Christopher, and you are—" The woman swallowed. "Good evening, sir. My name is Ava," she replied softly. "And this is my daughter, Mia." The little girl looked up with wide eyes and then hid her face again. Sophia waved gently. "Hello, Mia. My name is Sophia," she said. Mia peeked out again and gave a tiny shy smile. Christopher looked at Ava again and noticed the tiredness behind her makeup, the way she held her glass with both hands as if it was something strong to hold on to. Something in his chest moved. He had seen many faces in business meetings and events like this, confident, proud, greedy, selfish. But Ava's face was different. It carried quiet pain and hidden strength. At that moment, Christopher did not know that his decision to walk across that ballroom would change 3 lives forever, and he also did not know that before the night ended, he would do something people would call unbelievable. For a few moments, silence hung between them. filled only by the soft music and the noise of distant conversations. Christopher broke the silence with a gentle smile. Ava, I'm glad to meet you. How did you come for this event? Do you work with any of the organizations here? Ava shifted slightly on her feet. Um, Not exactly, sir. I was invited by a friend who works with one of the NGOs. She said I should come, that there might be opportunities. She looked down, embarrassed. Christopher heard the unspoken words, a chance, a hope, maybe a way out. And Mia? He asked, looking at the little girl. How old are you, young lady? Mia clutched her mother's dress, whispering something. She's 6, Ava answered for her. She's a bit shy. Sophia crouched slightly so she was closer to Mia's height. Do you like parties? She asked. Mia shook her head quickly. Too many people, she whispered. Sophia giggled softly. I also don't like too many people, but I like the lights and the music. Ava gave a small, grateful smile at Sophia's effort. Christopher watched the girls and felt a warm pride in his daughter. Then he turned back to Ava. Forgive me if this is too direct, he said kindly, but I noticed you seem a bit uncomfortable. Is everything okay? Ava hesitated. She looked around the hall as if afraid someone would hear her. Yes, sir, everything is fine, she said quickly. But her eyes told a different story. Christopher's voice stayed gentle. You don't have to pretend with me, he said. This event is for helping people. You are not out of place here. She swallowed, her fingers tightening around the glass. It's just, I don't usually come to places like this. I borrowed this dress from my neighbor. I almost didn't come because I wasn't sure I belong here. She gave a small, shaky laugh. Everyone looks so rich. Sometimes I feel like the room is reminding me I do not have much. There it was, the truth, just beneath the surface. Where do you work? Christopher asked softly. I work 2 jobs, sir, she replied. In the morning, I clean rooms at a small guest house. At night, I work at a bakery as a cashier. I also do laundry for people in our compound when they ask. And Mia? Christopher glanced at the little girl again. She goes to a small community school, Ava said. I try my best to pay her fees, but sometimes it is hard. Her father… She stopped and her face tightened. Christopher waited. You don't have to tell me if it is painful, he said. Ava took a deep breath. My husband died last year in an accident. He was a kiki driver. A drunk driver ran into his tricycle at night. Since then, she looked away, blinking fast to stop her tears. Since then, I have been alone with Mia. Christopher felt his heart sink. He thought of all the times he drove past traffic, busy with phone calls, never really thinking about the lives of people driving kekis and taxis around him. I'm sorry, he said quietly. That must be very hard. Yes, sir, she replied, but I keep telling myself that I must be strong for my daughter. As they spoke, a group of wealthy guests nearby laughed loudly at a joke. One of the women glanced at Ava and whispered into her friend's ear. They both looked at Ava from head to toe and then turned away with small, mocking smiles. Christopher saw it. So did Ava. She lowered her head, her cheeks burning with shame. Sophia frowned. She had noticed the women's reaction too. Daddy, why are they looking at her like that? She whispered. Christopher's jaw tightened. He knew the look. It was the same look people gave when they believed their money made them better than others. He looked at Ava again, really looked at her. Not as a stranger at his event, but as a human being carrying heavy weight. Ava, he said after a moment, his voice calm but firm, do you have anyone helping you? Family? Friends? She shook her head. My parents are in the village and not strong. Most people around me are also struggling. Everyone is just trying to survive. Sophia stepped closer to Mia and gently took her hand. Do you like cartoons? She asked. Mia nodded a little. Yes. What is your favorite? Princess and the Frog, Mia replied quietly. Sophia smiled. Mine too. Maybe we can watch it together one day. Ava looked at the 2 girls, then at Christopher. There was a question in her eyes. Sir, why are you talking to us like this? I know people like you don't usually have time. Christopher let out a slow breath. Because sometimes we forget that everyone here tonight is not just a face in a crowd. You are a person with a story. And tonight I feel like I am meant to listen to yours. He paused, thinking deeply. Would you mind if we sit together for a while? He asked. I want to hear more, and I think Sophia and Mia might enjoy each other's company. Surprise filled Ava's eyes. "Sit with us?" "But sir, this is your event. Are you sure?" Christopher smiled. "I am very sure." As they moved toward an empty table nearby, Christopher felt something shift inside him. He had organized many charity events before. He had signed big checks and given speeches about kindness. But this felt different. This was not just charity, this was personal. And as the four of them sat down together, billionaire, daughter, single mother, and little girl, an invisible line between two worlds quietly began to melt away. Christopher did not yet know what he would do. He only knew one thing. Walking away from Ava and Mia was no longer an option. The program on the stage started. The host welcomed everyone, and different speakers came up to talk about the importance of giving back to society. But at their small table, another, quieter story was unfolding. Sophia and Mia were now sitting side by side, coloring on the back of the event program sheets with a spare pen. They were giggling softly, completely lost in their own little world. "So you like drawing flowers?" Sophia asked. "Yes," Mia replied. "I like drawing flowers and houses. One day I want to live in a house with a big garden." Sophia smiled. "Me too." Ava watched them, her heart full and heavy at the same time. She turned to Christopher. "Thank you, sir," she said, "for sitting with us, for allowing your daughter to play with mine. Many people would not do that." Christopher shook his head gently. "You don't need to thank me for something that should be normal," he said. "Tell me more about you. Did you go to school?" "Yes, sir," she replied. "I finished secondary school, but I could not go to university. I started a small tailoring course, but I had to stop when I became pregnant with Mia and money became tight." "Do you still sew?" A faint light came into her eyes. "Yes, sir. I sew small clothes. Sometimes I make simple dresses for people in our area. But I do not have a shop. I work from my room, and it is not always safe. There is no steady light, and when it rains, water enters inside." Christopher leaned back, thinking. If you had a better place to stay and a stable income, do you think you could grow your skill? Her voice grew softer. "I think so, sir. I have ideas for children's clothes. I even draw designs at night when Mia is sleeping. But life moves so fast, I am always afraid that one day we will be chased out for not paying rent." His chest tightened. He thought of the luxury apartment he and Sophia went home to every night. She had her own room, her own bathroom, a bed bigger than the whole space Ava described. The host on stage called out big donation amounts. 10 million naira from Mr. Adeyemi. 15 million from Dr. Okafor. People clapped, cameras flashed. Christopher knew that when his name was called, he would also give a large amount. But tonight, his mind was not on big numbers. It was on one woman and one child. He looked at Ava and said quietly, "Ava, would you be willing to come to my office tomorrow?" Her eyes widened. "Your office?" "Yes, I want us to have a proper conversation in a calm place. I think I can help." She stared at him, searching his face for any sign of mockery. There was none. His eyes were calm and serious. "Sir, I don't understand," she whispered. "Help how?" He reached into his pocket and pulled out a simple white business card. He placed it on the table and pushed it gently toward her. "This is my direct office contact," he said. "Be there by 10 a.m. tomorrow. Ask for me at the reception. I promise you will not regret coming." Ava's hand shook as she picked up the card. "Sir, are you sure? People like you, people in your position, you don't just do this." Her voice broke slightly. "What if it is a mistake?" Christopher shook his head. "It is not a mistake, Ava. Sometimes life pushes two worlds together for a reason. I believe this is one of those moments." She pressed her lips together, trying not to cry. "Thank you, sir," she said in a trembling voice. "I will come. I promise." Just then, the host called Christopher's name to give a short speech. He stood up and straightened his jacket. Before he walked away, he leaned down and spoke quietly to Sophia. "Stay with them, okay? I will be back soon." "Yes, Daddy," she replied. "Can Mia and I have dessert when it comes?" He smiled. "Of course. Make sure she gets the chocolate one you like." As Christopher walked to the stage, he felt something new moving inside him. For years he had seen charity as a duty, a responsibility that came with his wealth. Tonight, for the first time, it felt like something more, like a personal call. He stood at the podium and gave the usual speech about hope, opportunity, and giving. People clapped, and some even wiped tears from their eyes. But even as he spoke, his mind kept returning to the image of Ava, twisting the edge of her borrowed dress, and Mia clutching her sketch of a house with a garden. When the event ended hours later, Christopher made sure his driver dropped Ava and Mia near their street, giving them extra money for transport and food. He did not tell her everything he was planning. Not yet. It felt too big, too sudden. That night, while the city of Port Harcourt slowly went quiet, Ava sat on her small bed, holding Christopher's business card like it was made of gold. Mia was already asleep beside her, one small hand resting on her mother's arm. "Lord," Ava whispered, tears in her eyes, "I don't know if this is real, but if it is, please, let it be good." Across town, Christopher sat in his large home office, files open in front of him. He stared at the page of another big project, then slowly pushed it aside. He picked up his phone, called his personal assistant, and said something that shocked the man on the other end. "I need a fully furnished apartment made ready in 1 week," Christopher said calmly. "And I want a junior administrative position opened in one of our companies. Tomorrow we will fill it. The person's name is Ava." "Sir?" his assistant stammered. "That is very sudden." "Who is she?" Christopher looked out of the window into the night. "She is someone who has not given up," he answered. "And I will do something that many people may not understand, but I know it is the right thing." As he ended the call, he knew one thing clearly. By this time tomorrow, his life, and theirs, would not be the same. The unbelievable decision had already been made. The world just did not know it yet. Ava barely slept that night. She kept waking up to look at the small alarm clock on the table, afraid she would miss the time. By 6 a.m., she was already awake, ironing her one neat blouse and skirt. She brushed Mia's hair, packed it into 2 neat puffs, and prepared her for school. "Mummy, where are you going today?" Mia asked. "To see someone important," Ava replied, tying Mia's shoelaces. "Remember the man from the party?" "The man with the kind eyes," Mia said. Ava nodded. "Yes, him. He asked me to come to his office. Will he help us?" Mia's voice was full of innocent hope. Ava swallowed. "I don't know yet, my love, but we will pray that something good happens." After dropping Mia at school, Ava took a bus to the city centre where Christopher's main office building stood tall and shining. She stared up at it, feeling small but determined. Taking a deep breath, she walked to the glass doors and entered. "Good morning," she said quietly to the receptionist. "My name is Ava, Mr. Bia. Christopher asked me to see him by 10 a.m. The receptionist typed something on her computer, then looked up with a polite smile. "Yes, ma'am, he left instructions. Please have a seat. Someone will come for you shortly." Ava sat on a soft chair, feeling the cool air conditioning on her skin. Everything was so clean, so organized. Staff members walked past, carrying files and laptops, speaking calmly and confidently. She wondered what it would feel like to belong in a place like this. After a few minutes, a man in a navy blue suit approached. "Miss Ava?" he asked. "Yes, sir." "I'm Daniel, Mr. Christopher's assistant. Please, come with me." She followed him into a large office with tall windows that looked over the city. Christopher stood as she entered. "Ava," he said warmly, "you came. I'm glad." "Good morning, sir," she replied, her hands nervously clutching her handbag. "Please, sit down," he said, gesturing to the chair in front of his desk. She sat carefully, back straight, heart racing. Christopher leaned forward, resting his arms on the table. "I thought about you and Mia all night," he began. "I want you to know that what I am about to offer you is not a favor to be afraid of. It is an opportunity. You have worked hard. You deserve a chance to breathe." Ava's fingers tightened. "Sir, I am listening," she said in a small voice. Christopher nodded to Daniel, who placed a brown envelope on the table and stepped back. "Ava," Christopher said, "inside this envelope are 3 things." He opened it and began to explain. "First, there is a letter confirming a job offer for you as a junior administrative staff in one of our companies. You will work normal hours with a stable salary, and you will have time in the evenings to rest and to be with Mia." Ava's mouth fell open slightly. "A job?" she whispered. "Here?" "Yes," Christopher replied. "We will also assign someone to train you properly. I have read your record from the small guest house where you worked. They said you are honest and hard-working." He pulled out another paper. Second, there is a document showing that I have arranged a two-bedroom furnished apartment for you and Mia in a safe area, closer to a good school and your workplace. The rent for the first 3 years has been settled. Tears immediately filled her eyes. Sir, no. She shook her head in disbelief. This is too much. I cannot. Christopher raised a hand gently. Please, let me finish. He brought out a third document. The third thing is a scholarship letter for Mia. She has a full scholarship to attend a good school from now till she finishes secondary school. All fees paid. Books included. Ava covered her mouth with her hand as tears streamed down her cheeks. Her shoulders shook as she tried to speak. Sir, why? Why would you do all this for us? Christopher's voice was soft but firm. Because when I saw you at the gala, I saw a woman who refused to give up. I saw a little girl who deserved a fair chance at life. I have money, Ava. I have more than enough. But what is the point of all this wealth if it cannot change someone's story? He paused, then added quietly, My daughter Sophia was watching too. I want her to learn that true wealth is not just about what we keep, but what we give. Ava sobbed openly now, wiping her face with her scarf. I don't deserve this, she whispered. You do, Christopher said. This is not pity, it is an investment in your future. I believe that if someone stands with you now, you will stand with others one day too. For a long moment, the room was filled with quiet emotion. Even Daniel blinked rapidly, moved by the scene. Finally, Ava took a deep breath. Thank you, sir. I accept. I will work hard. I will not waste this chance. Christopher smiled. I know you will not. He stood up. Come, let me show you something. He led her to one of the large windows. Look out there, he said. This city is full of people carrying silent battles. Tonight you will go home with a new story. You will tell Mia that from today, things have changed. A small, shaky smile formed on Ava's face. She will not believe me, she said softly. Christopher chuckled. Children have a way of believing good news faster than adults. Tell her anyway. Later that day, Christopher took Sophia to visit the new apartment. As they walked through the rooms, Sophia turned to him with wide eyes. Daddy, this is for Mia, she asked. Yes, he answered, and for her mother. Sophia walked into the small but beautiful bedroom that would belong to Mia. She will love it, she said. It looks like a princess room. Christopher placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. Remember this day, Sophia, he said quietly. This is what it means to use what we have for good. Sophia nodded slowly, feeling something deep and new growing in her heart. For Ava, that day felt like waking up from a long, painful dream into a gentle light she never expected. For Christopher, it marked the moment when charity stopped being a line on his calendar and became a way of living. Many people in his circle would later call his act unbelievable. But for Ava and Mia, it was something else. It was salvation. 6 months later, the Royal Crest Hotel ballroom looked almost exactly the same. The chandeliers still glowed, the tables were still covered in white cloth, the band still played soft music. It was time for another charity gala. But tonight something was different. Sophia walked beside her father, now more confident, holding a small notebook. Daddy, do you remember the last gala? She asked. Yes, Christopher replied, smiling. That night changed many things, didn't it? Sophia nodded. It did, for us and for them. As they entered the hall, people greeted Christopher as usual. Good evening, Mr. Daniels. Great to see you, sir. We heard about what you did for that young woman. Some spoke with respect, some spoke with surprise. Others whispered, not fully understanding why a billionaire would make such a personal investment in a stranger. Christopher did not mind. He knew many things in life looked strange until someone understood the full story. At one corner of the hall, a small display table had been set up. On it were tiny, beautiful dresses for girls, each sewn with great care, each carrying a small label, Mia and Mum Designs. Standing beside the table was Ava, dressed in a simple but elegant gown, her hair neatly styled. There was confidence in her posture now and a gentle peace in her eyes. Next to her, placing a little card on the table, was Mia, now brighter, healthier, and more relaxed. She wore a pretty dress that her mother had sewn herself. Look, Sophia said, nudging her father. There they are. They walked over. When Ava turned and saw them, her face lit up. Good evening, sir, she said warmly. Good evening, Sophia. Good evening, Auntie Ava, Sophia replied happily. Mia ran forward and hugged Sophia. Guess what? She said excitedly. My teacher said my reading is the best in class. Sophia gasped. Really? That's amazing. Ava laughed softly. She has been working so hard, she said. The new school has made such a difference. And the apartment. Sir, I still do not have words. Christopher raised his hand gently. No need for sir here, he said. Tonight we are just family and friends. She smiled with gratitude. Then thank you, Christopher. Because of you, I no longer wake up afraid of the landlord's knock. I no longer fear that Mia will be sent home because we cannot pay fees. I can come home in the evening and actually sit, rest and sew. She pointed at the dresses on the table. These are some of the pieces I have been working on. Your team helped me design the logo. Mia and Mum designs. We even started selling online. Christopher looked at the dresses carefully. These are beautiful, he said honestly. You should be proud. I am, Ava replied. But I am even more proud when I see Mia open her books with joy and not fear. Her eyes grew misty. You gave us more than things. You gave us dignity. The host of the event soon took the microphone. Tonight, he said, before we begin, we would like to share a story of how our last gala led to a life-changing moment for one family. Please welcome, Ava. Ava's eyes widened. I didn't know I would speak first, she whispered. Christopher smiled. You will be great, he said. Just tell the truth. Ava walked slowly to the stage. She stood at the podium, hands shaking slightly, but when she looked out and saw Mia, Sophia, and Christopher watching her, she found strength. Good evening, she began. My name is Ava. 6 months ago, I stood at the back of this same hall in a borrowed dress, holding a glass of juice and trying not to feel invisible. As she told her story about her husband's death, the struggle to feed her child, the long nights of fear, many people in the hall looked down, ashamed of how easily they had judged people by appearance. Then she spoke of the night Christopher walked across the room and asked her name, of how he listened, not as a proud billionaire, but as a human being, of how he did the unbelievable, gave her a home, a job, and a future for her child. I am not sharing this to praise him alone, Ava said, her voice stronger now. I am sharing this to remind us that sometimes one decision can change a generation. He believed in me when I barely believed in myself. Because of that, my daughter will grow up in a different world. When she finished, the room was silent for a second. Then applause burst out, loud and long. Some people wiped their eyes. Others looked thoughtful. Christopher sat quietly, not seeking attention. Sophia squeezed his hand. Daddy, she whispered, are you proud? Yes, he said, but not of myself. I am proud that we listened. The host returned to the stage. Thank you, Ava. Tonight, let us remember that charity is not only big checks and public speeches. Sometimes it is a quiet choice to cross the room and ask someone, what is your story? Later, as the event continued, Sophia and Mia sat together again, drawing more flowers and houses. This time their drawings were full of bright colors. Outside, the city of Port Harcourt moved on as always, full of noise and struggle. But inside that ballroom, something gentle and powerful had taken root. As they prepared to leave, Sophia hugged her father tightly. Daddy, she said softly, I want to grow up and help people too. Maybe not like you, but in my own way. Christopher kissed the top of her head. That is all I could ever hope for, he replied. They walked out of the hotel together, billionaire, daughter, single mother, and little girl, no longer from separate worlds, but joined by one simple truth. True wealth is not measured by the size of your bank account, but by the lives you choose to touch. And all it took was one night, one question, and one unbelievable act of kindness. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you like the story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.